Hey, welcome back. This would be Tuesday, December 16th, regular class. We're talking about the Shadow Club. Information up there behind me. We have Ugly Sweater Day coming up on Thursday. Test coming up, blah, blah, blah. Information from there. Dear?
What?
Your hand's in the air.
Oh, when are we going to get the paper for the extra credit?
After we finish doing this, and I give you time to read. Fun stuff. Alright, so then from here, to cover the book, so we left off with the Shadow Club kids. They were out in the woods, and they had decided to pick a new president. And who was the new president? Jared,
Mercer.
because he takes control and does all the yelling at people and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm going to be in control. And then they decide that they're not going to do pranks anymore for a little bit to be safe. Then something happens between Jared and Cheryl. What happens between Jared and Cheryl?
They go lovey-dovey.
They go winky-winky. I think the new term is they're shipping. Relationshipping. Now we're going to call them Gerald. For Jared and Cheryl, they put them together. It's Cheryl. That's what all the kids are doing. And so now we have Gerald because they're hanging out, and apparently there was kissy. So hopefully you covered your eyes while you read that part of the book.
Well, did you come?
Shh, it's okay, just think. Then they get back to school, things are going well, then out of nowhere, apparently the pranks start back up. The first one is with Eric Kilfoyle's basketball locker. And what happens with his basketball locker?
Painted
black. It gets covered in paint. Someone opens it up and dumps paint over everything that he owns, covering it, which of course makes him a little sad and grumpy, and the yelling and the screaming and the smashing of things. And they're like, well, that's weird, because did the Shadow Club do that one?
No.
Oh, if you've gone past page 147, by the way, then you are going to have information in your brains that you cannot share with us. So make sure you do not share the information that goes, if there's big fun stuff that happens past 147, no sharing of big fun stuff. They are undeserving of that information. Then, Tommy Nichols' school locker. The principal, Mr. Diller, decides to search all the kids' lockers. Why does he decide to search all of the lockers, Lambert?
Because his camera got stolen.
His expensive camera was stolen. Where do they find the expensive camera?
Tommy's locker.
Did Tommy Nichols do it?
No.
At least according to him, because that's when he starts crying and everyone, I'm innocent and not fair, and shaking his little fist at the sky. And did the Shadow Club do this one?
No.
No, they're like, oh, we didn't do that one either. That's not good. Then we have David Berger's trumpet, and we get to go to another level of fun. And what happens with David Berger's trumpet, Brutus?
We get to run over.
By a
Bus.
and apparently someone takes it and puts it behind one of the buses when they're leaving, and you hear this sound, and that's when David Berger's like, no,
And he
and
pushes
goes,
it back.
runs, and tries to play it, and he's like, then it falls apart in his hands, and he cries. And once again, another person crying. Did the Shadow Club do this one?
No.
And once again, they're like, oh, we didn't do that one either. It's getting kind of spooky. Then we find out that someone knows about the Shadow Club. Someone besides the Shadow Club. Well, we found out last time. Who else found out about the Shadow Club? Tyson. Now we have a new person who knows about it and confronts him. Or him being Jared. Who confronts Jared, Abdul?
Mr. Green.
Mr. Green. He's like, hey, Jared, about this Shadow Club thing. To which Jared goes, the what now? Where is he? I don't know what's going on. Look, squirrels. And tries to be as confused and dumb as possible. And then, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Penguins movie, which, by the way, is awesome.
Wait, the new
The new Penguins from Madagascar. And so I took my daughters to see it this past weekend. If you've seen the previews, the ones with the little penguin, you keep seeing the big cheesy poop thing, runs every time the wolf tries to talk. It was an awesome part of the movie. But the scene with Mr. Green and Jared, when every time like Mr. Green's asking him questions and Jared's like, sandwich? We kept eating it. I was just like, oh, it made me giggle. Sorry, that was just my little reference on that. So, Mr. Green confronts Jared and says, hey, tell me about it. Does Jared tell him about the Shadow Club?
No. Well, he does, but not.
Not on purpose. And he gets tricked about it. He's like, I won't tell you nothing. Until Mr. Green makes a deal and it says, I will let the Shadow Club continue to exist on one small condition. And Ernie, what's the condition? You have to let Tyson in. And does Jared agree?
No.
No. Lots of pounding of the desk and screaming and like, no, he's crazy. Poundy, crazy. And so refuses to let him in. Then we get to Drew Lander's fish tank. because Drew Landers is the swimmer person, and so he has a little fish tank that he keeps at school. And what happens with the little fish tank thing from there, Jake?
The firecracker.
And someone puts the, what do they call it? Blockbuster?
Yeah.
They put a firecracker in there and it goes kabloomy, kasploomy, and fish tank bits go everywhere.
Poor fish.
And then I think we get to, while they're finding out about that and they're out at the football, wait, did the Shadow Club do this one?
No.
Still no Shadow Club. And then we have Vera's bike, who apparently she was going to bike home from school that day when something happens with her bike tend.
Her brakes stopped working. She was going down a
Someone
hill.
cut her brakes on her bike, and of course, apparently she was too dumb to realize you just jump off the bike, and instead she rides it into traffic. Does she get hit by a car?
No. She hit the fire hydrant on her head.
Yeah, she headbutts a fire hydrant. She's like, "Rawr!" Smash. And then the bike goes through a window and smashes like a giant cakey thing, and smashy cakey bits go flying everywhere. Did the Shadow Club do that one?
No.
But the Shadow Club knows who's behind all of these. And who's
Tyson.
is correct. Tyson. Because they're like, only one person knows about the Shadow Club that's not the Shadow Club, and that's Tyson. And so they suspect Tyson, and well, actually they don't suspect. They know Tyson's been doing it. They're like, let's go kill him. They're like, oh, that's illegal. They're like, well, let's go do bad things to him. They're like, that sounds like a good idea. But they have to try and get proof first. So Jared confronts him, and here's where it gets a wee bit confusing. In the school phone booth. You're like, oh, Mr. Brovicast, what's a phone booth? If you don't know what a phone booth is, they used to have them around. And if you didn't have cell phones, you had a little phone, payphone thing that you would use. And oftentimes, if you were fancy places, you would have a phone booth. It was like a little room that you could go into that had a phone. Our school here, not fancy. We don't have a phone booth. We did have a payphone here in our school, though. And the remains of it are still existing. On your way to lunch, if you're walking down this way, and you have the office on your left, and then you go into the cafeteria, and there's the LGI on your right, if you look to your right, next to the LGI doors, there's pictures hanging on the wall about not bullying and stuff like that. Those pictures are hiding old cell phone banks. Where they used to like cell phones in the wall, and you can see little cell phone things behind them. Yeah, I mean, you could probably just do a little peeky. There's no phone there anymore. They've ripped it out, but now it's just like a hole. But you would never know that because there's a picture hanging there, and it was all tricky of them. But this school was a little fancier than ours, and so they had a whole phone booth you'd walk into and shut the door, so that way you could have privacy while you're talking. Because apparently, kids are noisy, and so you'd go in there to hide and get a little bit of distance and stuff like that. And so Jared takes Tyson in there, and they do a little yelling and the screaming and the fighting back and forth. Does Tyson admit to it?
No.
No, but he does admit to one thing. What does he admit to?
Told Mr. Green.
That he told Mr. Green. He's like, I did tell Mr. Green. He's like, why? And he's like, I'll never tell you. And then he runs away screaming, waving his arms in the air and stuff like that. Ernie!
That's not what happened.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
You're thinking later in the book. Yeah, that's why we're not talking about that part. Yes,
Can I go sit on the hallway? Just like,
I'm proud of you for not yelling it out loud. We're almost done. There's only one more scene I have to get to. And that's the scene with them handing out the new stuff for the track. And they're going to hand out the new track uniforms, which is all kinds of exciting. And it turns out that Jared's has a special name on the back.
Gopher.
Gopher, because whose family paid for the new uniforms?
Gopher. Oh.
yeah, Austin.
Austin Pace's family. And so apparently Austin's like, what? That's not your name? Oopsie doopsie, I'm so sorry. And so he gives him the shirt with the gopher on it. And how does Jared take the new shirt? What does he do
Not
with it?
very well.
He runs away.
He throws it.
He does eventually run away, but first he does the whole fighting and attacking and the whole hissing like a cat. Like his fur stands up on his back. And then he tries to attack Austin like an animal. It goes all, Tyson, the hissing and the raring and the trying to bite him. And the last thing I wanted to get to was on page 146, as he's running away. There's one small scene to get to.
Wait, what about Austin's break? Oh, we just passed it.
We don't have Austin's prank yet.
Oh.
That comes up next. We're going to get there. So on page 146, as Jared goes running away, Cheryl goes running after him. Jared, slow down, said Cheryl. I can't keep up with you. I stopped. We were far from the field now. You know what? I hope Tyson was watching and gets Austin next. I hope Tyson pulls a terrible trick so mean Austin never gets over it. That's what I hope. Cheryl looked at me kind of strange. You really want that? She asked. I thought for a moment, catching my breath. I don't know what I want. It was true. I didn't know how I felt or what I wanted. I didn't even know who to hate anymore. Austin, Tyson, Shadow Club? Maybe just myself for allowing all this to happen. Hey, what do you say you come over to my house and we make chocolate shakes like we used to? So, even without reading ahead, you should understand what that scene was an example of. What's that scene going to be an example of? Foreshadowing. When he was like, I hope something really bad and awful happens to Austin. And so then you're going to get to the next chapter and find out what's going to happen. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the end of the book. If you're not there yet, I will be giving some little bits and pieces of it away. But hopefully that helps you out. But I'm going to stop now, unless you have questions, so I can give you guys time to either read, or if you're done, to work on the crossword, so that I can stop harassing you. Yes? Good stuff. Alright. If you have 20 points or more, and you are reading, you can sit on top of your desk. If you have 40 points or more,